Hello guys, Jules here and welcome back to Mystery Lake. Today I'm presenting you the renewed version of an old archetype that it was called the Lost March after the name of the attack from this jump off and this NATO, which is in fact Lost March. When I mentioned it is a new is an updated version this is because of the Emolga that came out with Team Up. Explain why. We'll explain why we put the Emolga. Pretty much everyone playing the Lost March nowadays it uses the Emolga too. But first, let me remind you to subscribe to the channel if you still haven't, to check all the other videos if you still haven't, and also that you can find the links to the Twitter profile and the Twitch channel in the description. Make sure to follow those out to be constantly updated and to be able to follow the streams, of course. So, for those of you who don't know, the concept of the Lost March is that of putting as many Pokemon as possible in the Lost Zone in order to be able to maximize the damage coming from this attack. That in fact it does 20 damage for each of your Pokemon except Prism Star in the Lost Zone. There's no cap. It can do up to infinite damage, which is amazing. And more importantly, it just requires to do this jump of 1 grass energy in order to do that. We have mentioned in the Zoroark video that the concept from that deck is kind of similar to this one, as you can deal a certain amount of damage basing on how many Pokemon you have in the discard pile. But we have said in that video that this deck is much stronger, it works much better than that one, and that is mainly due to this low cost, low energy cost for the attack, both from the jump love and the Natu. And also because there is no cap to the damage, whereas the Zoroark has a 200 caps, 200 damage as a cap. So, how do we put though? How do we put Pokemon into the Lost Zone? Well, for this purpose, this is the reason why we are playing the 4-4 Opip Skiplum line, and that is due to the ability from the Skiplum. In fact, the ability from the Skiplum, Floran Path to the Sky, allows you to, whenever you're evolving your Opip into the Skiplum, you allows you to put this Pokemon and all the cards attached to it in the Lost Zone, meaning that you will basically put 2 additional Pokemon, were the Scriplum and the Hoppip, into the Lost Zone, which is basically 2 more Pokemon there, which means 40 damage from the Jumpluff. Then we have the Trumbic, whose ability is, in fact, we cannot ever put it in play because we don't have any Pikipek in the deck, but we will basically use this ability, which says that once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in your hand, we may reveal it, and if you do, we look at the top card of our opponent's deck, and we can put it into the Lost Zone if it's a supporter. And regardless of whether this card is or is not a supporter, we can put the Trumbic into the Lost Zone. So this basically means that whenever we have the Trumbic, we are guaranteed to have at least 1 more Pokemon into the Lost Zone, which is amazing. So pretty much everything in this deck supports uh, us in putting in the effort of putting more Pokemon, sorry, in the Lost Zone. And this is for the Trumbic, the Skiplum Jumpluff. The Natu is mainly used just for to have another attacker in case we lose all the 4 Jumpluff, because he can also do the same attack with the same meaning, with the same concept, except that it costs 2 colorless, and that's why we're playing for 3 colorless energy to attach to the 3 Natu that we're playing. Oranguru is obviously used to draw a card whenever we are with an empty hand or almost empty hand. The Marshadow adds a lot of disruptive plays to our opponents, mainly. We tend to use mini cards, and that's the purpose of both the Oranguru and the Marshadow, because we tend to use mini cards. So, can you imagine to play all the cards, or remaining with just 1 card and the Marshadow in hand, and then using his ability? You can both annoy your opponent by disrupting his and whatever he has, but more importantly, you get 4 cards to play with the turn after, or even the same turn, because of course the Machado is not a supporter. So it's the only deck. This one is the only deck where personally, together with the Necrozma, but in the Ultra Necrozma I play just one. In this case I even play 2, because in this case I feel in this deck is the only deck in which I do even me, I like playing the Machado. I'm saying even me because usually I'm on the wrong end of the let loose. Where regardless of who uses whether it's me or my opponent, I am on the on the bad end of that let loose. Now let's focus on the Emolga because this is the very new the new so this and an item, which is the Pokemon Communication, are the new entry in this deck that were added after Team Up came out. And basically, what is this Molga is used for is to get more Pokemon into the end, into our end. Because, due to, of course, they all have the Nuzzle attack, and the Nuzzle Gathering ability allows us to search our deck for a Pokemon that has the Nuzzle attack, then reveal it and put it in our end. The idea is basically to put one Emolga into play and then constantly use Nuzzle Gathering every turn to gather more Pokemons, to gather more Emolga, of course, up to 3 in the best case. And what do we do with those Emolga? Well, those Emolga are extremely useful to be put in the Lost Zone with a Lost Blender. The Lost Blender is an item card that was always played in in the Lost March, but it improved a lot in what it does with the addition of the Emolga, because most of the time we are looking to put two Emolga or at least one Emolga if we have it, depending on how many are prized or how many we have in hand or many things. But we are looking to put some of them into the Lost Zone, which is basically 20 damage that we get more into the from the Lost March attack for free, and we also get to draw a card. So the Emolga, it is bad to say, but used just to put it in the Lost Zone with the Lost Blender. Or another scenario is to put it back into the deck with the to put an Emolga into the active, get another one with the Nuzzle Gathering, and then Pocket Communicationing it away back into the deck to get maybe a Skiplum or a Natu if we have a double colorless, or an Oranguru if you're running out of cards, for to get many different things. Basically, the idea is that with this deck, it's not bad to have some Pokemons in hand. And with the Emolga, we can easily get some expendables Pokemon in the deck, which are Emolgas. Uh, let's talk then about the second new addition, which is the Pokemon Communication. This card works perfectly in this deck because first of all, we're playing 26 Pokemon. 26 Pokemon is a lot of Pokemon, which means that we might not always have the one that we need, and therefore we can easily put some that we have, what we don't need, we can easily put them back into the deck and get someone that we need. The main example, the most useful use of this card would be to put Jumpluffs back into the deck, because the whole idea here is that we evolve the Hoppip into the Skiplum, and that's it. Then we need to have a Jumpluff into the deck so that we can use Skiplum ability. We would never want to evolve the the Skiplum into the Jumpluff, meaning that, for example, because in that case we will not put the Pokemon into the Lost Zone. That's the idea. But what are the scenarios in which this could happen? So, for example, before we could have one Jumpluff prized, so we have 3 in the deck. 2 are already there, and maybe they already died. And we have an Hoppip Skiplum, a Skiplum already in the bench, and we have a Jumpluff in our end. There is no way we are going to be able to attack, or better, we are not. There is no way we are going to be able to use Skiplum ability. There would have been no ways, because we have no more Jumpluffs in the deck, and we have 1 in end. If we evolve the Skiplum, then we will not be able to put the 2 Pokemon into the Lost Zone. And the Pokemon Communication comes very handy in this case, because basically in a situation like the one that I just depicted, we can use it. You can use it just to put the Jumpluff back into the deck. Then we can take, for example, a Trumbic even even increase to increase even more the damage, the additional damage that we will be able to deal this turn. But more importantly, we put the Jumpluff back into the deck so that we can use the Skiplum ability. So it's a pretty amazing card for this deck. And in general, it's a very good card whenever you are playing a deck with many Pokemon. But with this deck, it's very amazing. It's really amazing to put the Jumpluffs back when you need them, so that you will know that you constantly have Jumpluffs in the deck. I don't even know if it's Jumpluffs or Jumpluffs, but yeah, never mind. It doesn't matter. The nest ball is clearly used to get more op-hips in case we need op-hips, or more energies in case we need energies to attack with the jump up. So it's a very versatile card and very useful in this deck. It's useful in plenty of situations, whether as I said, whether we need Pokemon or we need energy. The fact that we can choose one of those is amazing, and that's why we would play always these over the nest ball. Also because, fortunately, luckily enough, the Opip is a grass type Pokemon. The timer ball is of course used to find some Jumpluffs or Skiploom, because it allows us to get two evolution, or well, up to two evolution, I should say, because it depends on the coin flip. In fact, we flip two coins for each heads. We may search our deck for an evolution Pokemon. So we could get up to two evolutions. That could be, for example, one Skiploom and one no, two Skiploom, for example, if we have two Opips in our end in the bench. But even we could think even further. If we, for example, have no more Skiploom to take with the timer ball, we could take one Jumpluff, just because we already have a Pokemon communication in our end. So we could use the timer ball to get the Skiploom and the Jumpluff, then put the Jumpluff back and get whatever other Pokemon we need. Even the Trumbeak, because the Trumbeak is still an evolution, so we can even get that with the timer ball, and pretty much boost our damage up. Whether exactly as I said, whether we take the Trumbeak or we take Skiploom and Jumpluff, put the Jumpluff back and take the Trumbeak with the Pokemon communication. What I'm saying is basically that there's a tons of possibility, thanks to the timer ball, thanks to the Pokemon communication, and of course all the other cards that I've already described. Then as a stadium, we are playing the Lysander Labs, but that is because we are not playing any items, so any tool, sorry. So we will never be affected by the Pokemon tool, the effect of this stadium, and also because nowadays all the decks, pretty much all decks, are playing one or even more stadiums, so it never hurts to be able to discard them, especially if it's a Prism Star that you will never be able to get back into play. For example, if you are playing against an electric type deck, then discarding the Thunder Mountain Prism Star with this card will feel amazing. Um, for the supporters, we are going very standard. We have three Cynthia, three Gutsuma, and two Lily. That are self-explanatory, and the only difference compared to what we usually find pretty much every other deck is the Professor L lecture. So the reason why we are playing this card is pretty clear, because it allows us to search the deck for up to 3 Pokemon with a maximum of 60 HP, and then put them into our end. And this works perfectly, where it works amazingly, because all the Opip, Skiploom, even the Skiploom, the Molga, the Natu, they all have less than 60 HP. So we can get them all. For example, if we have Professor Elm first turn, and maybe we have two Professor Elm, so we can do turn 1, 3 Opip, turn 2, 3 Skiploom, and put already 2, 4, 6 Pokemon into the Lost Zone for 120 damages. So it's amazing. It offers plenty of possibilities, this card. Of course, whenever we are kind of in a late game and we draw this card, then we might as well Lost Blender it, or reshuffle it with the Cynthia, because it will be less useful. It could be less useful. It could be useful even in the late game to get ourselves a Natu if you already have a double colorless and we ran out of Jumpluffs. So it's a fairly useful card in this deck, I would say. The Super Boost Energy is a pretty peculiar card. It's a Prism Star, of course, which is a Prism Star, an energy Prism Star. It's not that common. The only one that I can think of is the Ultra Beast Energy. So when this card is attached to a Stage 2 Pokemon, it provides every type of energy, but it provides only one energy at a time. If we have 3 or more Stage 2 in our bench, it provides 4 energy at a time, which is, of course, amazing. And the reason why we would play that is that, okay, we will almost never use, well, we will never use the 4 energy thing, because none of our Pokemon needs even 4 energies to attack, but it will be very useful. The first effect will be very useful, so that that if it is attached to a stage 2 Pokemon, it grants whatever energy, an energy of every type. And this is very helpful, considering that the Jumpluff is indeed a stage 2. Even if it has only 70 HP, it's still a stage 2. So it works perfectly. It's basically another way to have well, we could easily add another grass energy, I guess. It wouldn't make a huge difference. And then, of course, we have 5 grass energy so that we are able to attack with the jump bluffs, and 3 colorless energy so that we are able to, if we need, to attack with the Natu as well. So let's talk about the matchups a bit. So I already compared this deck, and also in the previous video I compared the Zoroark deck to this one. In my opinion, this one is much better because it can attack with less energies, it can deal potentially much more damage. It doesn't need choice band, for example. You don't need choice bands when playing with this one, whereas you need choice bands to boost the Zoroark damages up when you're playing with that other one. So pretty, and also again, as I said, I cannot say it enough. The jump ups and the Natu can attack potentially with just 1 energy, while the Zorak needs 1 dark and 1 colorless at least, which is a lot. So in terms of matchup within similar deck, another one that I can think of is the Tool Drop, and the Tool Drop is pretty good itself. I feel that it's just a bit slower than this one, therefore it's a bit, just a tiny bit worse, but it's still a really powerful deck. And we will make sure to show. I will make sure to bring it to you in the upcoming videos. But that being said, let's focus on the most common decks that we can find nowadays. And these would be the Zapdos, Jirachi, the variants, the Malamar variants, with especially the Ultra Necrozma and the Picarom, and the Zoro Rock. Well, against these decks, with most of the time, we have a pretty good matchup with this one because um, whenever we take a KO, we might take 2 prizes, especially if our opponent has a GX in the bench that we can Guzma and take down, and we can Guzma in and KO with one of our jump lefts that can easily deal more than 200 damage, and most of GX will not resist such a powerful attack. So most of the time we can play around those GXs and take two prizes every time we attack. Whereas they are going most of the time, they are going always to take at most 1 prize for when they knock us out, knock our jump loves or Natus out. So that's why against a regular GX deck, the NuzzleMarch could be in a favorable spot. However, we need to take into account that in the Picarom, for example, or in any other electric deck that is playing many GX like the Zoroark or the Tapu Koko or the Jolteon even, there are also Zapdoses. And the Zapdos is a huge counter to this deck because it's even faster than this deck. So this deck is fairly fast, but the Zapdos is much faster as it needs just 1 energy and it get KO starting turn 2. And it will always get a KO on any Pokemon in this deck, except for the Oranguru, but yeah, it's just 1 Oranguru in the deck. All the others will be knocked out by 1 Thunderous Assault. So the Zapdos, this deck suffers a lot from the Zapdos, and the Zapdos unfortunately are everywhere these days. And also, as I mentioned, 3 most played deck. The second one would be the Ultra Necrozma, and this deck unfortunately suffers a lot against the Ultra Necrozma too. And that is because of the Ultra Necrozma GX attack, which basically, when you can use it, it deals 60 damage to all the Pokemon, all of your opponent's Pokemon. And you can see the problem, because if all the Pokemon having less than 60 SP is amazing for using the Professor Realm, it's definitely not as good when facing an Ultra Necrozma, because this means that he will take the KO on many Pokemon at the same time, with just that Sky Scorching Light GX. If you have not seen our Ultra Necrozma testing video, make sure to check it out, because this is exactly what happens. For example, he might be playing Giratina, and with the Giratinas he can put those those 1 damage counters onto the jump bluffs, or the Machado, so that they also get to 60 HP. So, or you can use even the spell tag to do that. So there's plenty of choices that he has, so that he can take like 4 or 5 KOs in 1 turn with the Sky Scorching Light GX, and of course win the game. Yeah, when it comes to the Zoroark, I feel this deck might have something to say about it, because it can one-shot all of those GXs, so both the Zorak and the Lycanroc. And that we can reconnect to what I said at the beginning. Against the regular GX deck, we might be in a favorable position because we take 2 KO, whereas it takes one. Unfortunately, though, the fact that this deck suffers a lot against all those Zapdos decks or against the Ultra Necrotma GX does not allow it to be played that much in the competitive scene. You will unlikely find it at a tournament or anywhere pretty much. But still, I think that this is still a pretty powerful and more importantly, it's a very fun deck to play with because it's let's admit it. It's amazing to see a small jump buffs deal up to 300 damage or 240 damage, crazy amounts of damage. It's pretty nice. It's pretty neat to see. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to follow up the channel, to leave a like and a comment, and to be constantly up to date. Make sure to follow our Twitter profile and the Twitch channel as well. You will find the link in the description. So I'll see you guys in the next video with the testing of this awesome NuzzleMarch deck. Bye bye.